Oh yeah. So Mercury, the big surprise. I mean, this is the planet closest to the sun. Number one. Its surface temperature is 600, 700, 800 degrees, and we find actually there's water ice on Mercury in the North Pole, which is, man, that was a surprise when we found that. And then if you're on Mercury in certain places, you could watch the sun rise, and then it'll stop, turn around, go backwards, and set where it rose, and then rise again. It's based on Mercury's very slow day and its very fast year. It's just a weird thing to see a sunrise, sunset, and sunrise right in the same place.
And Venus, there are three ways to die on Venus, real quick.
Yeah, this is probably the worst planet for humans. I mean, we don't want to go there. It's just, there's what we found from our robotic spacecrafts was number one, there's the heat. Venus is 900 degrees Fahrenheit on the surface, like everywhere. North Pole, South Pole, equator, daytime, nighttime, it's 900 degrees. Why it's so hot is because there's these clouds, this dense atmosphere that traps in the heat, and that atmosphere would actually exert such force on you, it'd squish you flat. The air pressure on Venus would squish you like a tin can. And then the third part where you could die is if the clouds open up and it starts raining. It doesn't rain H2O, it rains sulfuric acid. So you would be a melted, squished, acidy pile of goop on Venus.
You spent some time with Pluto. Do you take any political position about?
Oh boy, here comes the controversial part. Yes, I do take a very strong position on Pluto. I am Pluto is not a planet, and I'm very definitive about that. This is something that, boy, I had to come to this a hard way because I was always a Pluto defender. When I grew up, Pluto was a planet. I loved Pluto as my favorite planet because it was so weird and odd and small. And well, then we found out in the 90s and 2000s that it's not alone out there. And we found now over 1,000 objects out where Pluto lives. And so that these other objects resemble Pluto a lot more than Pluto resembles, let's say, Neptune. I still was thinking, okay, Pluto should still be a planet. But then I have to think, well, what are you going to do with the other 1,000 things? You're going to call those planets too? And I thought, I'm an educator, so how am I going to teach the kindergartners the 1,008 planets? This is going to be tough. But there's actually a precedent for this, that planets have been kicked out of the Planet Club. Asteroids used to be planets, and they got kicked out. So I got the historic perspective, and then talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson and Mike Brown, the discoverer of other objects out there, they talked me into it. So I'm now a Pluto is not a planet person.
So the New Horizon discoveries with making Pluto come to life with all the magnificent photos, that doesn't change your mind. How could this
Does not
be a
change my
planet?
mind. I call it a unbelievably magnificent world, that's for sure. Not a planet, but a magnificent world. And there's so many of these out there. There's Eris that we need to discover, we need to explore. There's Sedna, there's Maki Maki, Haumea, and then there's all these moons that are out there too. The moons of Jupiter, the moons of Saturn that are worlds of their own too. So I put Pluto in the category of a unbelievably cool world. I'm so glad we went to see it. And we sent the spacecraft out the year before Pluto got demoted, which, good timing. It got out while Pluto was a planet.
Let's talk about the future. Now, I know, because I'm planning to see this one. There's a really major total solar eclipse coming up in 2017, isn't there?
Oh, this is good. I'm calling it the big one. We've been waiting for a total solar eclipse in the U.S. for a long time. And this is going to be on August 21st, 2017. Definitely mark your calendars because on that day, the sun will be covered over by the moon completely, covered over for a few minutes. And it is the most amazing sight you will ever see. I've seen a lot of astronomical events, but a total solar eclipse is like nothing you can ever see.